I've got a forum question here.
Okay.
And this one is for John, myself, and Johnny. You'll see why. It says, it's from Dark Globe 1977. This is from October 9th, 2011. Hi guys, my question is, how did you stop playing MMORPGs? I played Ultima Online, Star Wars Galaxies, and finally WoW for the last 5 years, and try as I can, I find it hard to play any other games in general. They just don't grab me the way games like WoW do. I love other games, but try as I can, I can't commit to anything else. When I could be playing an MMORPG, I feel like I am missing out if I play something else and don't log in. So this is interesting, Johnny, because you kind of just hinted towards this episode. How did you stop playing Phantasy Star and Final Fantasy 11?
This is so fucking weird because I was at work and I was telling my friends why I didn't want to play WoW, as I said earlier in the episode. And I told them how hard it was for me to quit Final Fantasy 11. And what ended up happening, this is funny. This is a funny story. I knew my social life had gone to shit. Mm-hmm. My phone was ringing. I wasn't answering it. I was sitting on Final Fantasy 11 for 12 hours a day. And I knew it was out of hand. And so as hard as it was, and this is the hard thing that people understand, is it's like a drug addiction. And I think they proved it.
It totally, like, I've never done drugs, but it was such a fucking addiction. Like, unlike you though, I didn't give a shit. Like, I wanted to play Final Fantasy 11. I didn't care if my friends wanted to hang out. That's how bad that game was. I did, but I had a realization that it wasn't right. As I said, in 3 months of playing the game, 3 months of solid, time. Well, imagine me in years.
But in 3 months, I played 1 month was my playtime full on, not sitting around. Yeah, probably a lot of sitting around in Juneau waiting for parties at one point. But honestly, it was playtime. And so I made a realization. I gotta stop doing this. And I was part of a really big forum, actually, and I was the leader of the entire fucking guild. And I came to this conclusion. I was just like, this is insane. So I told everybody, I got to get off. We'd all talk like drug addicts on the game. Like, yeah, man, I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit soon. Yeah, man, me too. I'm not going to be doing this for the rest of my life. And we'd be on there for another month. But we were all saying like drug addicts, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm getting off this shit. They're like, yeah, so am I. I said, yeah, tomorrow, guys, I'm going to hand out all of my equipment to everybody. And I got to get off this.
That's what you got to do.
That was my first step, was to go to my favorite friends and give them all my equipment that you could actually give at that point, not artificial fucking, what's it called again?
Artifacts. Artifacts.
Yeah, the fucking armor. So I made my decision. The next day I handed off my stuff and my character was naked and everybody's like, no, you can't do it. You can't, no, don't go. And I was like, I was almost holding back tears. I'm like, I gotta get off this. I can't keep playing this. And so I sold all my equipment and then I gave away all my money. And money's a bitch in that game. And
Jesus. You can spend days just trying to make money.
I did. Digging in the dirt for the first month in the game I was for that money. Until I struck it rich.
Now, here's the funny thing about Final Fantasy 11. WoW players have it easy where you just do quests and you get your fucking money. Bullshit on that. Getting money in Final Fantasy 11 is like having a real life goddamn
That's
job.
what I was saying today as well. Like, it was like the Japanese made this game, so it was fucking insane. It's hard, that game. Remember then you'd actually have to do a quest to get to go to the next level. Remember that?
Yeah, they still
get the parchment paper. Remember that?
Yeah,
with all the skeletons.
Oh god! Oh Jesus! That was one of
dude.
Final Fantasy 11 these days is easy cake, but back then, holy shit! You want to advance in level? You can spend a week or two trying to get that quest done to advance in level.
Do you know what, Pete? You know what's so funny? Didn't it drop the parchment or something?
Yeah, I think
randomly one of you would get it. I got it my first time in the dungeon. I went screaming like a banshee out of there.
Just put this into perspective for all the MMO players out there today. You're playing WoW. Let's just say that you hit level 50, all right? And you're in a guild and there's like 20 other members that hit level 50. You all have to go down into this dungeon that has a couple of enemies that spawn that, keep in mind, there's a lot of other people in the game that also need to get this quest done. You're down there camping these monsters that are on like a 15-minute, 20-minute spawn time.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You kill them and they have about like a 2 to 3% chance of dropping this item. And then when it drops, the people have to random roll for the item. And then you need to get 2 other items from other locations to advance in level.
Hey Pete, honestly, people were down there for weeks when I got down there.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, the chances of this dropping and then me personally getting it are like huge.
But that's
guess what? I got it first time.
That was the thrill of Final Fantasy XI. When you get those items, you feel the adrenaline rush. And that's
You'd scream.
And that's the addiction, though. That's where it comes
That's
in.
the addiction.
Because that's what you crave is you want that adrenaline. So.
And the thing is that part of the addiction and the sickness of these online games is that you invest so much into your character. So much into your
character. It's you. As sad as it sounds, you know?
Okay, Phantasy Star Online was easy to quit. That was easy. I played, I think, 740 hours. I was done. I felt great. But these games are different. You're investing so much. But okay, so here's how I broke it. I gave out all my equipment. I gave out all my money. And then, because I was part of this forum, actually, people used to use this as their quote. What I said next is that for a long time afterwards is that I'm like, okay, I said, fuck it. I said, 10 seconds till I'm off this shit. And I counted down in my room. You know, because I was playing the PS2. It's so funny. I'm like 10, 9, 8, 7, you know, I get all the way down. I'm like 1. And I fucking went, and I log out. I think I must have done something to my account to try to, because you couldn't delete your character.
Right.
Not fully. But I think I unsubscribed from fucking Play Online or whatever you did. There was something that you could do that kind of said, I'm done. With that, I ripped out the hard drive. I put it back in the box. I put it on the shelf. And this sounds so funny. I was like a total drug addict. I put everything back. I'm like, okay, done. Okay, everything's packed away. And I went and sat on the couch. And I'm not joking. This sounds crazy. I sat down and I was just kind of rocking a bit back and forth going, okay, let's go back. What have I done? Like, what am I doing? And so it finally got into the evening and all I could think about was this game. All I could think about was going back. And I sat on the couch and I was like, this is serious business. And I got a 6-pack of beer that night. And I had it in the fridge. And I said, okay. And it was so funny what movie was playing at the time. I'm not joking. This is no joke. Rain Man was playing. And I'm sitting there and I kept going to the fridge and getting a beer. And I cracked it. And I'm like, and I'm watching this Rain Man movie, and I was as schizophrenic as the main character, you know, like, I mean, you know, ADD. I had to, like, you know, my thought process was changing so fast. I'd be sitting there, I'm like, okay, watching the movie. I'm like, okay, let's fucking go, start the goddamn thing up again. Let's get going. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, no, have this beer, drink this beer, and shut up. I'm like, okay, drink the beer and shut up. I drink the beer, and I'm relaxed. I'm like, okay, let's go start the game. And it went on like this for 3 nights. I'm talking like really it was like I was getting over cigarettes or something. I was running to go back to get a cigarette or something. And eventually after a week, I kind of was finally letting it go, but I couldn't believe how hard it was. It was all I was thinking about. So I had like almost a drug withdrawal trying to get off that fucking game. Like, Pete, you had it easy. You're just like, oh, no big deal. You're one of those guys who, you know, does heroin and the next day is like, yeah, I quit. I don't need it anymore. You know, it's
funny you mentioned that because it wasn't that bad for me because the thing is, I played it so well. Here's the thing: the way I quit, and I've quit this game a couple of times because you never truly quit. Well, in my case, I never truly quit because I used to play the game so much that all of a sudden I'd get to the point where I'm playing the game, and out of nowhere, I'm like, "What am I doing on here? Like, this is such a waste of time. I don't feel like doing this anymore." And then I just flat out quit, and then I don't play for a couple of months. And then I'll get the urge to come back. Like, it's that addiction. You come back and you play for a few months again. And then suddenly out of nowhere, I'll be sitting there waiting for a party or doing a quest. And I'll be like, this is a waste of time. I don't feel like playing this anymore. And then I quit for a few months and come back. I did that a few times throughout my years playing the game. So I've been going on and off back to it, back and forth for a couple of years. I think the longest break I ever took from the game was almost a full year. And then I came back to it. I was playing Final Fantasy XI, you know, maybe, how long has it been now? Maybe almost a year now. It's been a while, but I was playing it not too long ago.
Not that long ago. It's not
because they raised the level restrictions. I was really not, it's been less than a year. And they're to the point now, because I went back to it because they made some huge changes to the game. Like drastic changes, raising the level cap because the level cap had been 75 for years and they raised it up. So I went back then and they added some new stuff. But I'm telling you, I think I'm finally done with that game because despite the changes that they made, it is not the Final Fantasy XI that it used to be. Like, Johnny, one of the coolest things, and you can admit about that game, was sitting there for hours getting a party together of 6 members, the healer, the support character, the tank, and the damage dealers. There's no such thing as that anymore. It's all about just getting in. No, it's all gone. It's all about getting in one.
That was what combat was.
I know. That's what Final Fantasy 11 was. And then, getting together and trying to keep your group running for as long as you could, and then people gotta get replacements. Because here's the thing about 11 that people don't realize is when you're in a party, an experience party, and you have to leave, like let's say you got to go have dinner or some bullshit,
some stupid thing like that. Yeah.
And if you're playing a character class that's really hard to replace in your party, such as me, I played a bard and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You have to get a replacement for yourself because it's proper etiquette for playing this game. So there'd be times where I could not get off.
I forgot about all that whole etiquette bullshit. Yeah, I know.
It's like you got to give people a warning. It's like, warning, I got to go in an hour. Can you look for a replacement for me? And then the leader would have to look for a replacement, but you're supposed to get one on your own. Yeah. So essentially experience parties would go on forever because people were constantly replacing themselves.
Pete, how does combat work now then?
Combat now boils down to the added areas in the game called Abyssia, which essentially are areas that you can go to that are in the past or different timelines within other areas in the game. And you gain experience now in alliances, not parties. So you join an alliance of, anywhere between 12 to 16, 18 people, whatever the cap was for the alliance. And you all just kill the same enemies in an area over and over, and it rewards you insane experience point bonuses. I'm talking getting like 30,000 experience in less than an hour, which to put that into perspective, back in the old school days of Final Fantasy 11, if you got experience chain 5, you got like 200 experience. Now you're getting, on top tier kills, you're getting, 700-800 experience per kill, and that's happening several times a minute.
So, okay, remember in the game that you could only play solo for a short amount in the game? What was it, to level 9 or 10 or 11, 12?
Yeah, no, people went to like level 10, and then you had to get a party.
You had to get a party.
Unless you played a Beastmaster.
Yeah. Fuck, what was the name? What's the name of the place where you had to go? The Dunes.
Yeah. And that was the best part of that damn game, because every time you made a new job class, you had to go to that place. And it was always so fun and exciting to start a new job and like play your role, your class with other characters. I used to love it.
I loved it. Yeah, I was always a tank. I loved it. I loved living dangerously. And I lived dangerously. I mean,
a fan of a tank. Did you play a ninja or a paladin or a warrior?
Warrior, absolutely. I was Dark Knight.
Warrior has changed into a damage dealer. They don't tank anymore, and Dark Knight is, believe it or not, over the years they had a really bad reputation because they had terrible accuracy.
Yeah, but that's why you would get items that boosted up your accuracy. That, like, I spent tons of money on great accuracy things like that.
I have to ask you a question, John. This is how we tell the true addicts here. Did you spend real life money on Final Fantasy in-game?
No, I didn't. Not at all.
I did after playing the game for a long time. And it was getting to the point where I'd spend an entire real life day making money in that game.
Hey Pete, I wanted to so badly, but I didn't.
It's bad. It's bad to get into that.
It sounds like you guys are over this game because you guys keep talking about it and over and over. The whole topic is about addictions, and then now you're going on a tangent.
When I think of Final Fantasy 11, and this is so funny. On my desktop, I actually have 2 folders of old photographs that I took of my character in the game and stuff like that, using the Play Online service to take the photos. But when I look at them, I don't want to sound hokey, but it's like that was like its own life in my like another life that I had, like a vacation in this world. Like the adventures and things that I did was like, was it real? It was. It was as real as that was. And it's so weird, that kind of experience. Like Pete knows, it's so, and John, from playing.
Yeah, I mean, I played EverQuest and stuff. Yeah, I mean, so what advice would you guys give? I think back to the question. So, wasn't he asking like, how do you get over addiction, or what? I mean, how do you
just play the game for as long as you can until you get to the point like me where you don't want to play it?
Well, I think that's the point, though. Some people don't have that point where they just stop. So. I think you just kind of put things in perspective. Like for me, the reason I quit EverQuest is because it was affecting my schoolwork. It was affecting my relationships, my friends, my work. I was coming late to work. It was just like, it started really affecting just everyday life. And I kind of woke up one day, honestly, and I'm like, well, I haven't had a girlfriend for a while, haven't got laid for a while, and I kind of put priorities, and and so I kind of got focused on work and school and stuff like that. So I was kind of like with you, Johnny. I kind of quit cold turkey. Actually, with EverQuest, I mentioned the story before though. I had all this equipment and armor and shit, and it got I got attacked on this ship, and I couldn't get to it anymore. And that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back for me. I'm like, fuck.
Were you on a ship or something and it sank to the bottom of the ocean or something?
Yeah.
I remember that.
They have moderators that people are supposed to help you with that shit, but no one could get to it because it was way in the deep in the middle of the ocean and shit. So I was so pissed. And I'm like, and I had a respawn where and I had nothing hardly on my money and it was just
definitely a way to kill the game.
And I'm like, okay, I'm over it. I don't want to start from scratch again and get that armor again. I had my experience and stuff, of course, but I'm like, I'm over it, So
for me, it was the same way. I played EverQuest first and then played WoW for not very long periods of time. But when I realized it was like having a whole nother life online and how much time I really had to dedicate to really keep up, I was like, you know what? I can do better things with my time.
Well, that's the thing. You think you're playing for 2 hours and you look at the time 10 hours, 12 hours goes by and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
I like the weirdest things. I was getting such terror. Sounds weird. These are the things that happen from playing these games. Is that I was getting such horrible heartburn, heartburn that I've never had in my life. And I'm like, why am I getting such heartburn? Because I was sitting on the floor, hunched over, playing the game all the time, eating. And I was sitting like that for 12 hours every day. Isn't that stupid? The weirdest fucking garbage started happening to me that way. I remember being in the dunes, and I was like, oh, guys, I'll be back in 2 seconds. I ran.
Yes.
I would run, grab something.
Yes.
I wouldn't even care where it was. I'd bring it back. I'd open it out of the can and be eating it while I'd be playing because I didn't.
Totally. You can't keep people. If you're a tank, you leave. The other people have to wait.
I know.
They have to put their time on hold. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It was. Hey, Pete, do you actually did you take some in-game photographs of your character?
It's sad. That's one thing I never did. I never really used the Play Online picture taking service. I wish I did because it would be so nostalgic to go back and just look at times where I have memories.
Pete, I tell you what I'll do in the forums. I'll actually I'm gonna put some of my funny old pictures because I got a whole bunch of hilarious ones.
Yeah, I would like to see them.
They're very entertaining. Yeah.
See you using the wrong equipment and shit. Because back then people didn't know. People on Warriors were using swords and shields, which is the worst.
Oh, I was a Dark Knight. I was using Paladin armor because it was some of the best stuff I could buy at the time.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're ever going to come out with a hotline for people who have video game addictions.
I wouldn't.
There should be.
There's something. I wouldn't doubt it if something like that already exists.
First step is to admit that you have an addiction.
Right.
That's the first step,
Oh, I totally knew I had an addiction.
I knew it too, all the way through. I knew it the third day. I'm like, and hey, let me please say this: is that I fucking loved it.
Yep.
Still to this day, I look back and I love that experience.
Looking back, I do not regret the thousands of hours I put into that game.
Me too. Hey, Pete, do you remember what? Okay, there's I'm just because it's been quite a few years, but there's the dunes, and then after that you go to is it the jungle?
Kazam.
And do you know what we used to call that? And we used to call it
after that you go to Quiffam Island, and then you go to Kazam.
Yeah. That's right. You're right about that. Right. But we'd actually call what was the jungle called again?
Kazam.
We actually called it Nam. You're getting sent to Nam. That's where you become a real warrior because it was so.
The thing about going there is you had to go on this crazy fucking quest to get items just to get to that place.
To get there, it was. I remember following people to get there. It was bananas. But what was so funny, Pete? One time, this is some old stories that I remember. You'd be with your group, and you go in there, and there's all these different groups fighting, mobs or whatever. And I remember this one time, some beastmaster, super high level, went into the deep, deep forest and brought this gigantic fucking tentacle creature. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yep. Yeah, I know where they are too.
Yeah, and he brought one right into the the kind of the noob area of that section. And I just remember standing there and just seeing on the bottom of the screen people screaming. And I'm like, why is everybody screaming? And I'm like, And all of a sudden we looked and I just saw characters dropping. I'm like, holy fuck. And we were booking it. And I remember I was booking it with all these characters beside me. And isn't it so funny with an MMO? I was actually terrified because I didn't want to de-level. And I'm running like a crazy man with all these other people. I'm like, fucking shit. And then we finally get into the next area, which is like a safe zone. Kind of links to the other area. And your character starts appearing in that area. And it's funny, I appear.
And then you die.
And all the people that were running with me are not there. I'm like, holy shit. Like, I think one guy was there. He's like, oh, fuck. I'm like, oh, fuck. And it's funny. We waited and he's like, I'm going to go have a look. I'm like, okay. And we're messaging our friends. Our friends are out there too. I'm telling you, this is one of those memories that I remember. We went back out into the field. Once we found out the creature had gone. Fucking asshole that brought it in. What an awesome guy. I love it. And we get out there and all it was bodies. It was fucking awesome. And people are screaming and pissed off. And
because when you die in 11, don't forget, people, you lost experience points and quite a bit of them. And
yeah, you'd sometimes de-level.
You level down.
Your own fucking armor.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
So it was so funny.
I don't mean to be rude or anything like that, but we've been on this topic for like 3 days now. And so let's move on to another question. Is that cool? Because I can still see you guys are totally addicted to this game still, so that's apparent to me. I'm fucking with you guys. No, but seriously, let's move on.
Johnny, though, the funny thing is they took that ability out of the game, so you can't mass player kill anymore like that. You can't zone enemies. If you zone enemies, they disappear.
Well, what was funny too, there was no healers. All the healers had been killed. So everybody's dead, so nobody could bring anybody back. So people were calling everybody in other lands and shit to come over. It was fucking excellent. So that's the end of the story, John. There you go.
Okay.
Fuck you.
No, okay, no, I didn't
John,
mean to be rude.
John, contain me.
No, we just have questions, and I want to move forward and make sure we move along. And we're kind of beating a dead horse here. So
those 4 questions are going to go insane if they're not answered.
Let's do one more. Do we have another one? Pete, do you have one queued up?
Yes. The next question here says, what is your favorite MMO?
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Well, actually, you get an hour? Let's fucking do this shit.
Oh my God.
No, I don't have another one. I'm looking now. I was too busy thinking of Final Fantasy 11.
Me too.
You guys need to be in counseling.
Reminiscing about that.
You know I love you guys. I wasn't trying to be a dick or anything.
Yeah, you weren't a dick at all. That's what it was about.